Well, hello, friends. I hope this finds you doing well. I just wanted to take a few minutes to encourage you from the book of Hebrews. In verse 24 and 25, which you may be familiar with, it says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." Well, the writer of Hebrews, near the end of the book, is just encouraging the believers to walk out and experience all of the things that are true of them. And the book of Hebrews, of course, is just showing the superiority of Christ in all ways. And he says this, he says, and let us consider, like, let's take time and ponder, how is it that we stir up one another? I think the New Living Translation says to outburst of love and good works. Do you see, we were not meant to do life as individuals, that as the children of God, as members of the church, that we realize that we're the body of Christ. We're the visible body of Christ in the world, and that we're to live interdependent lives. We've talked about this before, that we need each other. And so that each one of us needs to be thinking about not how they want to live life just for themselves, but as a member of the body, how do they encourage, how do they provoke one another to be vessels of love and life in the world, and that is manifest in good works. The Christian is not saved or accepted or loved or righteous because of their good works. No, all of those things come to us as a gift of God's grace. But it would be wrong to come to the conclusion that good works aren't important. Because good works most certainly are the expression of his indwelling life. And you and I need constant reminders from the word, from services at church, from one another, to encourage one another, to release the indwelling life of Christ, to let him who lives in us to live through us, so that he who is love is revealed, so that love isn't just some kind of a theological dialogue, but love is the way we live in the world. He says to stir up, to be aware, to be reminded, to remember that we who are indwelt by him who is love are to be vessels of that love. And we are known as his disciples because of our love one to another. And he says, and good works. So, for you to live is Christ. And for you, your life as a child of the King and one who pursues the King in his kingdom is all about a life of good works, revealing him, expressing him, being sensitive to how he wants to live and manifest himself through you. Now, verse 25, and I don't mean this as some kind of guilt trip about going to church, but he reminds us not to neglect to meet together. Because he said, even back then in the first century, some had the habit of just kind of doing their own thing and doing life on their own timetable and not really paying attention to the assembly. But he says, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near, because we need each other. And even if you're at the point where you think, well, I don't need someone, That doesn't mean that someone else doesn't need you. So I want to encourage you, because after a year of pandemic and all the fear and separation and isolation, and I understand if someone has pre-existing conditions and that kind of thing, they needed to be careful. But let's make sure that we don't get in the habit of just, watching online all by ourselves and forgetting that we need each other. So be intentional about coming to the Sunday services, and be intentional about being a part of a small group, wherever you are, because we need each other. And don't neglect it, because you need to be encouraged, and other people need to be encouraged by you, to remember, hey, you're loved, and you're a vessel of that love. So how can you provoke them to outbursts of love and good works? For we should be known as a people, as those who love and do good works like no others. For we are children of the King, and our preeminent pursuit is his kingdom. Well, you think about that, and I hope it encourages you, and if it does, I hope you'll pass it on. Have a great day. Love you.